Incredible 3-hour smoked spare ribs on the Kamado Pellet Joe. If you're curious about the Pellet Joe, this video is for you. Let's fire up the Pellet Joe. I love hot and fast ribs. Today we're going for 3-hour ribs because I've got a young family, I'm busy at work, and I'm sure you are too, and sometimes you just don't have a whole day to dedicate to cooking barbecue. So I've gotten to a rhythm where I've enjoyed this process of 3-hour smoked ribs. And so we're gonna be aiming at that 300 degrees on the Pellet Joe, but I'm gonna actually dial it in at around 285 because I have noticed on the Pellet Joe so far that sometimes it fluctuates throughout the cook around 8 to 12 degrees. So I'm going to anticipate that by dialing in at 285. So again, hot and fast, get us 3-hour ribs. So we're going to fire this off by turning on the Wi-Fi app and typing in our temperature and get this thing smoking. And while that's getting up to temperature, I'm going to take you in and show you how we're going to prepare these pork spare ribs. Let's prepare and trim up these pork spare ribs. I got these from my local grocery store and took them out of the package, and now we're going to trim this off by taking off the flap. We're going to square it off, and then we're going to remove any kind of extra fat that's unnecessary. And I decided to take off the membrane. Obviously in the barbecue world, this is very debatable. So you just experiment with what works for you on membrane. And then same thing goes with a binder. Today I'm using mustard as a binder, but you can use a high smoke point oil, like avocado oil as a binder, or you don't even have to use a binder. Oftentimes it sticks just fine to the meat. So what we're going to do after we've removed and trimmed up and squared off these pork spare ribs, we're going to kind of squeeze them in because the way that we put them on the grill is the way that they're going to cook. So we kind of squeeze them in, and then we're going to use mustard as a binder, and then we're going to be using 2 different rubs, using my house rub, which I'll put all the ingredients in the description. And then we're going to be using Hardcore Carnivore Red that gives it great color and sweet flavor as well, and layer that on the second coating. And we're going to make sure we get all sides, including the bone and the sides of the pork spare ribs. Let it sweat it out for about 15 minutes while our grill is coming up to temperature. So just in a few moments for you, we'll put these right on the grill and get to the next steps. All right, team, we've got these pork spare ribs put on the Pellet Joe. Again, aiming for that 285 to 300 degrees. I pushed these ribs in. That's going to help for presentation as it cooks. We're monitoring it at 285 to 300 degrees. And we're going to let this ride for a total of 3 hours. But once I see that it's got nice colorization, the rub is adhered to the ribs, then I'm going to foil boat it. And then we're going to let that ride for the last hour. And then I'm going to mop it at the very end for another 20 minutes. So probably when there's 20 minutes left, we will mop it and let it caramelize and hopefully just have a beautiful color to it. And hopefully it's boning by then and be ready for presentation. So we'll see you back when it's time to foil boat. All right, friends, we are at that 175 to 180, and we are going to put this in a foil boat, meat side down, bone side up, put it in butter, some apple cider vinegar, and we're just going to wrap this up in a boat like so, to produce even cooking. Just like this, back on the grill, and then our last 30 minutes we are going to baste it in sauce, Carolina sauce, and then we should be done. All right, team, we are at the tail end of this cook, and we've actually been cooking this for about 40 minutes in the foil boat. And one of the reasons why you cook to internal temperature and not by time is each protein is going to be different based on its size and also your grill. So based on probe tenderness and even look of these ribs, I am going to go ahead and flip these right here. Oh, they're super tender. Oh my gosh, yes. And now we're going to baste it and allow it to caramelize on this last 30 minutes so we can get a nice caramelization. and the tenderness is going to be there. All right, friends, we are done with this cook. We are at the 3-hour mark, and we've got just beautiful caramelization happening right now. And I'm gonna pick these up and kind of showcase what these look like. I hope that you can see that in the camera, hopefully get real close. I can already tell the bend test is already coming through, and just the boning action. We're gonna let these rest for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'll bring you back for a taste test and a final review. All right, friends, we have finished up this cook. We've let it rest, and I just want to show you again, look at that bend test right there. It's not breaking, but we've got great bend, great caramelization. This is going to be so tender. I'm going to bring you in. We're going to start slicing and show you what this looks like and do a final taste test. All right, friends, let's slice this up. All right, team, after you saw that slicing show, you can see this is pretty much fall off the bone. There's multiple opinions about this, and I think if you like fall off the bone, then this method is right for you. If you like it where it's more of a bite through, there's a few alterations I would do to this. Essentially being, I wouldn't necessarily just coat it in meat side down in the butter and also the apple cider vinegar, because that softens up the rub on top of the pork spare rib. But otherwise, I love the look of the mahogany. We've got some good caramelization. You can even see some great smoke ring on these bad boys. And let's give them a taste test. Good bite through. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Dude, I'm loving this. Come on. Smell-o-vision. Let's do this. This is so good. Let me wipe my face, come back, and share my final observations on these 3-hour smoked spare ribs. All right, we finished up that taste test, and you could see I really enjoyed that. I had to eat the whole thing on camera there. Seriously, it was so tender, fall off the bone, juicy, and even I had a good bite through. Some of these will just come right off, and you could turn this into some great pulled pork, rib, tacos, and all sorts of stuff. So depending on your preference on how you like to cook ribs, this is a great method. But the flavors I'm getting, I really like the house rub mixed with the hardcore carnivore red. Gave it great color and just a very sweet, but yet I think a little cayenne kick to it as well. Then we got the Carolina Mop Sauce towards the end to continue to amp up the flavor as well. And overall, it was great. Pellet Joe, 280 to 300 degrees. You get 3-hour ribs. You don't need to do 3-2-1 method to get incredible ribs. And as you can see, these are not dry. These are completely tender and just incredible, and even great caramelization. So let me know in the comments what you thought of this cook. If you're finding value in these videos, let me know in the comments by subscribing as well. Turn on notifications. You know exactly what to do, and check out the Kamado Joe playlist if you are new to Kamado. A few other things to just make observations as you're new to Pellet Joe smoking. At the end of every cook, you want to make sure you turn it onto the off mode, the shutdown mode. It's a 25-minute to 30-minute cool down, and it's burning off the remaining pellets so you don't have an accidental fire on your next cook. And so those are a few things you want to make sure, and you're always vacuuming out the ash at the end of the next cook. So be sure to do those maintenance things with your Pellet Joe. They'll make your experience a lot smoother and easier, and I learned a few of those lessons early on. So again, I hope you're finding value in this 3-hour smoked rib video, and from my backyard to yours, less hate, more love, good barbecue. Till next time.